checking in. It's the exam coach. It's the morning, I'm on the way in. I want to talk about something career related. So, during your career, you're going to get all kinds of feedback, and VaynerMedia's got a pretty good system in place to give feedback and receive feedback. A good model that allows people to be honest with each other and hopefully improve each other. The issue is, I think, for people starting their career, it's tough because you're very ambitious. If you're like me and you want to achieve a lot, you're very ambitious, and you often think your way, the common sense way or the initiative way of doing things, just looking at a problem and thinking, okay, it can't be that hard, how do I solve it, is a good way to do things often. And you think you could have a good shot at most things and actually be able to get it pretty far down the line. Obviously the experience counts in that a few kind of little touches and nice kind of things that you do in order to deliver the task to a higher standard, quicker, more efficiently, in a more high-touch way. However that may look, comes with experience and just knowing what the other side is looking for. But really what I'm trying to get across here is you're going to get feedback, and any kind of... I'm very good at receiving feedback, I'd say, just as a self-awareness thing. I don't really care if anybody says anything about me because I'm quite confident in my ability, just to put it frankly. But at the same time, I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I maybe miss things, don't get things right, don't do things in the best way first time around, and I'm open to new ways of doing things. I think there's a few ways that you can react when you get it, when you do get the nudge, the feedback, whatever. It's number one, which I say is the default, is immediately you kind of think, this person who's giving me the feedback doesn't get the whole context, doesn't get the other stuff that I've been doing, or the other things I had on that took priority, or all number of things, maybe even something going on at home. And the one thing I would say is, defaulting to that is not always the best way. Obviously letting people know what you've got on your plate is a good thing to do, but I'd say the best way to go about it is just admit that first up you fell short of expectations. That's the best way to do it, because I always try and think, whenever I'm looking for someone to improve, what's the kind of attitude you want them to show? And it's the one of acceptance and willingness to improve. And even if deep down you maybe disagree with the way something's being run, the way to approach it would be to either suggest a new way after having admitted your initial mistakes. So it's kind of, take a punch first before dishing one out, kind of thing. I think that's always the way to go. And then suggest new ways of doing it, and then you sometimes just have to try and make it happen, because maybe companies don't have things set up in the perfect way, and it's part of your job to actually contribute to that. And then you get into the capitalist kind of argument of what's the ROI for you as a person in doing that, in actually going above and beyond your job, and setting a system up, actually doing beyond the kind of day-to-day servicing of whatever you do, but actually helping build the business. So kind of taking on a senior leadership role in moulding and architecting the structure and framework within which everybody else works. Now, you got to make that judgment call on whether you think, one, you're going to get the recognition for it, if that's what you're about. Two, it's going to be a good enough learning experience for you that you could actually use that again in the future, which I imagine it would be. If you have experience of setting up any kind of system, it could easily be deployed, and then you can apply all the lessons that you learned from that to your new job, or if you set up on your own, kind of thing. And really the approach that I think a lot of people take is you take it to heart. And even when I get feedback, I'd say the first kind of 2 seconds I'm like, oh bugger, cocked up. and then you kind of take it a little bit personally for the first 1 to 2 seconds, and then you've just got to put it in perspective. The person's only trying to help, and you need to be able to criticize yourself. That some of the most difficult people to work with are those who either cannot or refuse to see from another person's perspective, and see how the whole machine works, and also just come to accept the fact that people are at work for different reasons. Some people want to absolutely crush it, make it to the top, peel off, do their own thing, have a huge impact, and other people just don't, and you're going to get both in a business. Other people want to use it to support a lifestyle of like travel and stuff after work. Cool, that's fine, but then they might also be ambitious to be a part of a particular arm of a company, which doesn't necessarily mean they have to collaborate with you in your job as much, because that's not exactly the piece that interests them. So it's about realize, and I learned this very early on. I didn't know it before I started working, so this is why I'm trying to pass this knowledge on to you. When you start, you will figure out that people are there for different reasons, and I kind of went in thinking, everybody's there to just absolutely nail it. And maybe at some companies they do have a high percentage of people who do want to just go to the very top. So what I mean by that is kind of CEO, CMO, CFO kind of vibe, up the ladder, or peel off and start their own company and lead. But some don't, and you've got to come to terms with that and the working styles that are part of that. You get the leaders who are going to be, some people are going to play hardball. Fortunately, I haven't seen much of it at all at VaynerMedia, but I know it happens at other companies. They're going to play hardball and tread on a few people to get to where they want to be. They're going to, you're going to ask them to cooperate and help you out and maybe do their bit or the bit that's easiest for them to do on a task, and they're going to give you a nice forward defensive and say no, or you do that. And it gets tough when that happens, because there are a lot of conversations going on in the office. There are people in any business that are going to execute to a higher standard more often, push out more work than others. But my one piece of advice to anybody trying to find a job is find a workplace that recognises that has some sort of measurement system in place, that acknowledges higher output, better output, the touches, the little things that make a big difference over an extended period of time. Not the sloppy, lazy stuff, not the chit-chat, that, the idea that you can get away with a bare minimum kind of thing. And it's not a mean thing, it's work, right? You're here to earn money at the end of the day, to have a good time as well, obviously. But just keep your finger on the pulse. I'm still figuring this stuff out, but just kind of riffing on a few things I've picked up on, within VaynerMedia, a lot of the positive stuff going on within Vayner, and then conversations just in general, at bars, just picking up on people's vibe, what they're thinking about, how their workplace operates. I had a lot of conversations, especially I got a lot of legal friends. It seems like there's something going on there where people will actually not give you all the information you need to get a job done as quickly as possible. Rather, they'll go for the, you spend more of your time doing this and digging this up, even though they could probably give you the tee up if they took 5 minutes to just explain and hand over the info. But yeah, I just think it's important to think about these things, because they do happen every day at work. And if you know how to approach them, whether it be feedback, whether it be working with different colleagues, you're going to be able to have a real head start on, I'd still say this is, it doesn't matter how senior you are. Obviously with seniority comes the experience of experiencing more and more of these types of situations, but there's definitely the possibility that if you could come in at a junior level and show that ambition, that attitude and approach to feedback, to working with other people, you're going to shoot up pretty quick, and you're going to enjoy it as well, which is an important thing. You're just going to have a good time, because you're going to be able to put things into perspective and see them for what they are. It's just work at the end of the day. It's no biggie. Don't blow things out of proportion. Have a laugh, and in the meantime, keep your eyes on the prize. Make sure you're clear about what you want out of it and get it. Work towards it every day. Don't let the little nudges and bumps throw you off the course. Just keep that aim steady and fire away consistently over an extended period of time. Consistency over an extended period of time, it comes up a lot, but that's the key. So have a cracker, enjoy, and I'll be checking in again tomorrow.